Hello, everybody. I'm Bonnie DeShong, and this is a special broadcast of Bonnie's Eye. Today, on June 24th, 2022, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, which is something that went into effect on January 22nd, 1973. It's very telling. It's very, for me, outrageous as a woman in America to have this right taken away from me. But today we're going to have two people who I respect very much as we talk about this. We have Reverend Dr. Jeanette Wilson, Esquire, who is the senior advisor at Rainbow Push and Push Excel. And we have my sister of the microphone, Dana Devine, acclaimed radio host and musician. How are you guys today?
Great.
We're great.
Thanks for
Uh,
having us, Bonnie.
it's this is just amazing to me of what's going on. Okay, Reverend Jeanette,
Yes, ma'am.
let's talk about the effect that this ruling will have, not only just women everywhere, but especially women of color.
Well, I think what it does is it says that here again in 2022, women don't have the right to make decisions about their own bodies. It's the right of the freedom of choice. And it is gender bias because there's no health care initiative, no law that bars a man's right to make a decision about his body. And yet here we have a case where women are denied that right. And you have a Supreme Court, uh, which is shifted far to the right based on being nominated by Trump and appointed by a Senate that is majority white male. And so men have been chipping away at Roe versus Wade over a number of years, and finally they have created a Supreme Court, crafted a Supreme Court that can overturn it. And you coming out in this case comes out of Mississippi, a state that has restricted a number of rights of citizens. And poor people are going to be really harmed. Poor women will be harmed by this decision because many women receive their health care from Planned Parenthood. And this decision says to women, even if you're raped, even if you're a victim of incest, even if you're a victim of domestic violence, you don't have a right to make any decisions about your body. And that's just unfortunate when we're the majority of the voting age population in America for 6 people to deny us that right. But beyond this decision sends a signal that we're going back to a states' rights agenda where every state in the union will make laws that they decide appropriate for their state. So as you travel around the country, your rights will change state by state. This is the same kind of situation we had during the Civil War. And that's the danger of Roe versus Wade. It's not just about a woman's right to choose. It also has implications for uh, more of the gender bias issues, whether it's in sports or other areas. Also, it's going to restrict marriage rights. That's going to be the next level. You look at this Supreme Court has made some decisions about gun rights. People have more rights to a gun than they have a right to protect their bodies and to protect their children. Very dangerous.
Yes, it is. And Dana, when you heard this come down, what was your first reaction?
2022. I thought, where is this 2022 that we're living in and here? And then my second reaction was the people who didn't vote.
Right.
The non-voters who probably will represent the most affected with this new law. The ones who didn't vote. And and I also the third thing I thought of was the Netflix series, The Handmaid's Tale.
The
Yes.
Handmaid's Tale. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And so then my question always is, does art imitate life or does life imitate art? And when you start looking at just almost a lot of artistic expression, it is just, like I just feel like, we've pushed the whole Independence Day, how is the world going to look post bombing, so close that I just feel like we're flirting with that now. We're just flirting with the idea. Some people are just like, well, let's just see. And it just seems like it's just like that for every single thing. Now we just flirt with the worst things. And now I know white women are having trouble reproducing. And Handmaid's Tale, black women don't have as, I won't say we don't have trouble, but I don't think the numbers are the same. However, black women today are dying from childbirth in 2022 at a higher rate than white women. So I understand that.
Right. It's something because I could never understand in my own life, I couldn't understand why people were upset about having a choice. It's not like pro-choice or Roe versus Wade was something that would tell you you had to have an abortion, you
Right.
had to do this.
Right.
You had a choice. If you didn't believe in it, then you don't do it. If you didn't have a need for it, then it's your choice. You didn't do it. But here we are voting, they're fighting, they're marching, and whatever for people to have a right to carry a concealed weapon or a weapon of mass destruction, as far as I'm concerned, when you can walk into a school and kill children. You have no problem about people doing that, but you have a problem with people having a choice, you
Well,
know?
I think it's clear that this Supreme Court is saying that a gun has more rights than a woman does. A, and this Supreme Court is going back to the Civil War times when we had no right to vote, we had no right to make decisions, we had no right to marry at all. So, and then we didn't have a right to intermarry with other races. And so now this Supreme Court is rolling back all of these things that we fought for and won. Everything that we fought for and won is really at stake. And when you see the Roe versus Wade, you have to remember, how did we get here? The Supreme Court are not a group of just legal scholars that are dropped out of the sky. These people have political ideologies. They are nominated by presidents. This right-wing Supreme Court was nominated in large measure by former President Trump. They were confirmed by the Senate. So when you see a Mitch McConnell that people in Kentucky refuse to vote him out of the Senate, he is part of the reason this Supreme Court exists. When you look at the Supreme Court justices that Reagan nominated, and so they come from a political group that placed them because they carry the baggage. Clarence Thomas does not speak for himself. He speaks for the people who nominated him and voted for him, affirmed him to be on the United States Supreme Court, a man who totally disrespects the value of a woman's right of choice. We saw that in the Anita Hill hearings. He has no respect for women. And so these justices, are in place for life. They don't get elected. They are selected by the president and approved by the Senate. And so when we don't think these things through, we don't vote our interests. Now that everything is going to shift to the states, 25 states are saying, excuse me.
Well, I was just listening to CNN too, while Reverend goes to close her door, but I was listening to CNN, and two of the court justices that were going through their nominations and stuff before Senate was explicitly asked about Roe versus Wade. And both of them said that they would uphold it. And they were two of the ones that just overturned it. But go ahead and finish your thought, Reverend.
So we don't vote the midterm elections where every state legislator across the country, state senators, state representatives are up for re-election. The question must be asked in November. We must know where they stand on these issues. Where are you on Roe versus Wade, a woman's right to choose? Where are you on voting rights in our state? Where are you on health care for all? Where are you on pay equity and gender equity? Where are you on women's right in terms of athletics and sports? We have to ask the question, where are you on these rights? Because now we're moving to a states' rights agenda. The entire United States House of Representatives up for election in November. We got to vote people out that are not voting and speaking for us around the country. We have the majority in 11 southern states, African Americans. We can't just pick somebody that people put before us. The Senate swing is in play in Georgia. Warnock has to be reelected. Don't be getting confused by a football player versus somebody who is trained to go to the Senate, who has indicated his support for our agenda. And so I think we're going to have to vote. We're going to have to demonstrate across this country, but we also got to march ourselves to the polls.
Well, Dana, as far as women, what in your mindset, what is we as women going to have to do? What do we do now? I mean, we're fired up, we're ready to go, but we don't know what the heck to do.
Well, I think that the Reverend is absolutely correct. If we don't understand how to change policy, then you can march till you fall out. If just to be marching, it's all about like voting in your best interest, getting the ones out. And I don't know if that's a collective list that goes around that we can look at that tells, but like you to your point, two justices said they were going to support Roe versus Wade and did not. Mm-hmm. So, Reverend, can you do which three judges did support? Do you know which three did
support?
Did support it not being overturned?
I got it here.
6 justices on the Supreme Court voted in support, and 3 did not. 2 did not.
Neil Gorsuch, did I say his name right? Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, those 3, and Thomas, and I'm sorry, what's his name that actually wrote the bill? Alito. They are the ones that voted to overturn Roe versus Wade.
And so we can't vote them out, but you must look at the states that they come from. Yes. And we have to look at those state legislators in those states. We have to look at the senators from those states, because those are the same senators who supported their nomination. Because remember, you only get to the Supreme Court by nomination from the president and confirmation by the Senate.
Yeah, and what gets me too is, and the one thing I kept thinking about, and yeah, I'm going to be totally frank about this. Forgive me, Reverend. I know that some of these people sitting on this court were young men who probably had the use of abortions maybe before they were legal.
Right.
And because that they were affluent, or because they were white, or whatever, they got to have that taken care of quietly. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry for being this blunt, but it's the truth. When you got to college and everything, and you can see what was going on. But here are these men that are making all kinds of, and that woman making decisions for women. I'm really upset about that.
Well, what bothers me more than that is white women voted overwhelmingly for Trump. they follow their husbands. And they vote for these senators, these U.S. senators. Women have the majority. We're the majority of the population are female. We have the majority to change the public policies, and we have to start focusing on all politics is local. So we got to focus on state legislators. We got to focus on local judges who are running for office. Don't be voting for somebody you don't know, and voting for judges that keep criminalizing our children and our young men. We have to vote for secretaries of state that are going to protect and preserve justice in the polls, because I'm telling you, in November, we're going to have to watch every polling place. We're going to have to watch the Secretary of State, because there are moves now to restrict our voting rights. This opinion says that now we have a balance of power supposedly in this country based on the Constitution. We have the executive branch, that's the president, the governor, that's the president of the county board, and that is the president of the mayor of a city. Then you have the legislative branch, which is the United States House of Representatives, U.S. Senate. Senators run every 6 years. 1/3 of the Senate will be reelected in November. We need to vote some of those senators out. We don't have to have senators that are anti-justice to remain in the Senate. Then you have state legislators. You can't have these state legislators in Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, who are enacting state legislation that criminalize women, but open up opportunities for gun owners, as you said, Bonnie, to own assault weapons. We have to understand that we are in some challenging times, very similar to what the people used to say back in the civil rights days. Well, how about they back now?
And that's what I think.
Limited to women, gay rights is up for grabs. Voting rights up for grabs. They're coming for all of us. You know,
and they are. And I think that I think it'll. First thing I thought too was, young black girls. Now wait a minute. Now I know the young white girls. You can't tell me all these young girls out here probably having unprotected. They're all getting pregnant. So what's going to happen is somebody's sister, cousin, doctor who can take them in their office and can put it on. But if you don't have that resource in your family, you're going to jail, because now you're pregnant. If you think you're going to get an abortion, because what are the repercussions, Reverend? So if now a young black girl is pregnant, she went out to the club last week and she had a hookup, and she's pregnant, and so now she can't. So now she's got to just have a baby or go to jail if she has an abortion.
Well, some states are going to criminalize the person getting the abortion and the doctor that performs it. That's one. And maybe the person that takes you to get it. Each state gets to choose how they're going to handle that.
Wow.
And then, so she may end up in jail because she got pregnant. That's a possibility, depending on what state she gets pregnant in. You're going to see women traveling across the country, because 25 states are talking about changing their laws to line up with the overturning of ROE. You got 25 that say they're going to maintain a woman's right to choose. So you got people flooding Illinois and other states like Illinois where they can get an abortion. It's going to be a nightmare. And doctors now, their licenses will be held at risk in some states because they're going to make it criminal. And some penalties will be out. If you perform an abortion, you will lose your license that you paid for, you went to school for, you earned. So there's going to be all kinds of problems. I don't know.
And policies change it.
That'll change. And that's why we got to focus on, in November, who we send to these state legislatures. Reverend Jackson is calling for a voter crusade across the South in all this summer, because we got to get people to wake up and vote. I hear the turnout is low in Illinois. We're going to have to do some shows, Bonnie and Dana, every day. Not just June 28th, it's primary, but we're going to have to really do some live remotes to get our people out to the polls. This is really serious.
It's crazy because I early vote all the time. And usually I have to stand in line to early vote. I walked right in There was no one else in there voting. I was really disheartened because this primary is very, very important on all levels across the country. And so I was really upset about that. But I also went back in 1973. I was a junior in college. And when I think back to before then, what was going on with girls drinking bleach when they thought they were
Yeah.
pregnant, or
Coat hanger.
doing right coat hangers, or going into back alleys and having people who have nothing, no kind of medical anything,
Yeah.
doing this sort of thing. I would hate to see things go back that way. And another thing, people think Planned Parenthood, they think abortion. Planned Parenthood is not about abortions. It's a health,
Preventive.
Access to
right.
health.
Right. You can go there. People who can't afford to go and to a Northwestern or a Rush or whatever, Chicago, whatever, can go there for their gynecology things and other forms of medical health.
Right.
And
And
I
this
just
is
want
gonna go ahead, Dana.
I was going to say, I can tell you today, here are already how the disparity is going to work. Allstate, it has already sent the message down to their insurance people that they uphold the woman's choice. Basically, they will pay for the people to cross state lines and pay for their abortions. Again, that's fine if you have some Allstate insurance disparity, but if
Yeah.
you don't,
Poor people are going to be harmed, and it's not going to be just poor Black people. It's going to be all poor people are going to be harmed by this decision. Because, like you say, in the rural areas, the only place they had access to health care was at Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
For the babies. And so, they talk about right to life. Well, they don't care about the kids once they're born. They haven't dealt with Uvalde, Texas yet. Uvalde, Texas, where these kids were murdered by incompetent police. 19 people killed, and the police standing outside the door getting texts, 911 texts. So a gun has more rights than a woman. A gun has more rights to life. The gun has to live. An assault weapon gets to live, but our children have no right to life once they.
None whatsoever. And that is another thing that comes out once the baby is born.
We don't take care of it.
You don't take care of them. There's no healthcare initiative. There's no schooling initiative. There's no daycare initiative. There isn't anything that will help you have that child grow.
One of the
But
lawyers from the National Bar Association, we just did a press conference. Said this is a call to action for us to wake up. It's a wake-up call for us to go back, because we thought we didn't have to fight anymore. We thought this was done. This is the most serious decision we've had in our lifetime. Here, the Supreme Court has overturned a constitutional ruling. They don't do that to take us back before that ruling was made. And when you talk about some of the movies, art does imitate life. If you look at Call the Midwife, they were fighting this back in the 1900s, in the 19th century. It's amazing. I watched that and I can't believe we got the same fight.
Yeah.
And if you've been raped, if you've been a victim of incest, you've been abused in a relationship, and you get pregnant, you have no right to not have that child. And now you got the emotional trauma that these women will have as a result of what they've experienced. Who's going to pay for that?
yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. Now, our president was on talking about trying to make it a law, or trying to figure out what he can do to take Roe versus Wade and actually make it a law. But that I don't know how he could possibly do that with the Senate being the way the Senate is.
He can issue an executive order, which is what Lincoln did to free the slaves. That was not congressional action until we did the 13th Amendment. So Biden, while he's president, can initiate an executive order, about a woman's right, and that will last while he's president. It overrides what that's how you have this balance of power. The only problem is that law ends when he office unless the next president opposes it. And that could give us a time to elect a Senate that's more just.
Well, this is. I mean, while this is a fight that you and I and you can champion, right? The fact of the matter is, this is my children's fight.
Absolutely.
And I'm done having kids. So these young folks ought to really be the ones, the way they're out here wilding out, to get on board and get to the polls. It's the onus is on them. You guys are doing this, and you guys are the ones who are absolutely gonna suffer from this. Now, if that's not enough for you to get up and vote, and you like the way y'all like to do what you want to do, go to the polls.
Well, I think it's just about us really communicating the message. Everything that they need is at stake. This whole student loan debt is at stake. Those who want to have same-sex marriage, that's going to be the next case.
Mm-hmm.
They will be denying that. The interracial marriages, all of that comes out of a Supreme Court that functions like this. They are trying to take us back to the Civil War days. And that's the danger in allowing this to just go without our voices being heard. And these legislators across the country need to know this is unacceptable, and we got to change it at the federal, the state level, all of this.
And that's so true. So everybody just realize the overturn of Roe versus Wade isn't about abortion. It's about having your own choice and women's rights, period. Because for those of you who are so young, it wasn't that long ago that women couldn't vote.
That's right.
It wasn't that long ago before women had to quit their jobs as teachers if they got married, just in case they got pregnant because they were married. They could not teach in a school.
And they certainly couldn't if they were pregnant and unmarried.
Right. Oh my gosh. So women, all ages, especially young women, okay? This is very important. It's not about having an abortion. It's about your choice to do what's best for you. So think about this. Dana, any last words before we go?
I'll do my part and get on my soapbox and every chance I get. And I do, hey, rock the boat. If these hip hop artists need to start coming up with some songs and make some videos, and Beyonce, I love the new house record, but do a social activist song now. Follow it up with something that they're gonna follow you with. All of them, they have a little responsibility too. All of these social influencers, they need to get with it. Media influencers.
I think we need to have a call to action for all of them. This is our season. This is their time to really take action, because, as you say, it is for their present and future. And it's not just limited to our choice about our bodies. Every right that we fought for is now in jeopardy. When the Supreme Court would rule in this case, overturning a constitutional decision, they will do anything. They will try to take us back, and we're not going back while I'm alive. We gotta fight the fight.
I'm telling you, and you have been out there marching you've been out there and you have made changes,
I'm not tired and I'm not scared. And I want all the young women, all the single ladies, it's time for you to vote.
Said, no, I'm not tired yet. No, I'm not tired yet. I've been working for Jesus a long time.
Well, remember, everyone, women's rights matter.
That's right. And
okay,
we got the power.
And don't make us work our necks. Okay. Thank you, Reverend Jeanette Wilson. Thank you, Dana Devine.
Thank
And
you.
get out to the polls, everybody,
And
and
y'all
do
gotta
what we
have
need to
Election
do.
Day special. We gotta
You
talk.
know what? We need to do that.
We'll do it. You gotta
Ah,
We
well,
will.
we will. We will. We'll figure out a way, and we will.
We will.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody. So until next time, make sure you go to vote. Make sure you make your voice be heard, and keep your eye to the sky. I'm Bonnie Duchamp.